When she does this, she's not just telling you yes. She's saying, I trust you completely. I'm giving you absolute control. I acknowledge your power. 99% of men only hear the first part, but completely fail to understand the second and third. They see this act as their victory, their personal triumph, another checkmark on their list of masculine achievements. But this is a grand masculine self-deception, a trap for the ego that makes you feel like a conqueror, when in reality, right at this moment, she is conducting your most important exam. She's not looking at your technique. She's looking at your reaction. She is unconsciously testing who you are. A grateful boy who has received a long-awaited prize, or a king who accepts his woman's ultimate gift with dignity. And everything depends on the answer to this silent question. Her future attraction, her respect, her devotion. And today, we will dissect this act with the scalpel of depth psychology. We won't be talking about physiology. We will be talking about power, trust, and the hidden female tests, using the keys left to us by Sigmund Freud and Carl Gustav Jung. I will show you what her consent truly means on a symbolic and instinctive level. You will learn the fatal mistakes almost every man makes afterward, instantly dropping his status in her eyes. And most importantly, you will get a clear algorithm for the perfect reaction that will transform you from a mere lover into her personal archetype, into her own kind of God. But I must warn you, if you only watch until the middle, you'll only get half the truth. I will reveal the most important key at the very end. So before we begin, please give this video a like right away. And if you're new here and ready to go all the way for real knowledge, subscribe right now. And before we start, I'm very curious about our geography. Please write in the comments what city you're from. Our shared map is very important to me. Part 1. The archetype of trust. What Jung and Freud would say about her Violette Arabiae. Let's get one thing straight. Her consent to this kind of intimacy is an act that lies far beyond simple physical desire, or, as many think, marital duty. It's a highly complex psychological and even evolutionary gesture. To understand its true depth, we need to descend to the lowest floors of the human psyche. And our first guide here is Sigmund Freud. What is this gesture from a psychoanalytic point of view? It is a voluntary regression, a return to the very first stage of psychosexual development, which Freud called the oral stage. Think of an infant. Its first contact with the world, with love, with security, happens through the mouth. Through the mother's breast, it receives not just food, but warmth, protection, and absolute, unconditional acceptance. In that moment, there is no fear, no anxiety, only total trust. And now, years later, an adult woman with you unconsciously reproduces this exact pattern. By consenting to this act, she symbolically returns to that state of infantile vulnerability and boundless trust. Her limbic system, her ancient brain, gives her a signal. It's safe here. This man can be trusted just like a mother. He will not cause harm. He is a source of warmth and protection. Understand the depth of this signal. These are not just words. This is a verdict from her nervous system. If a woman does not feel absolutely safe with you on a deep animal level, she will never go through with it. She will find 1,000 reasons, excuses, she have a headache, or just not be in the mood. Her self-preservation instinct simply won't allow her to enter this state of total vulnerability. Therefore, her yes is the highest biological compliment to your inner state. She is telling you without words, my instincts are silent around you. They recognize you as a guarantor of safety. But while Freud saw this as a return to childhood trust, his student, Carl Jung, would go even deeper, to the collective unconscious. For Jung, this gesture is not just a regression. It's a powerful archetypal ritual. And here we come to the second signal she sends you, the recognition of your status. the recognition of the King Archetype within you. What does this mean? According to Jung, within every woman lives the anima, her unconscious image of the ideal man. And this image is always searching the external world for an embodiment of strength, order, power, and confidence. She is looking for a man who embodies the archetype of the king, the chief, or the leader, the one who sets the rules, bears responsibility, and leads others. So, her consent to this act is a symbolic coronation. It is a ritualistic gesture of acknowledging your high rank. Do you understand? She isn't just pleasing you. In the language of symbols, in the language of the soul, she is saying, I recognize your power. I see the king in you. I am ready to follow you. This gesture is her way of showing that in the hierarchy of your relationship, you play the leading role. She voluntarily takes a subordinate position, not because she is weak, but because she recognizes your strength. She reserves this act for the one in whom she sees a leader. She will never do this for a man she doesn't respect, for a nice guy from the friend zone, or for someone she considers her equal or lower in inner rank. She might sleep with them, but this gift is reserved only for the one who has passed her unconscious audition for status. Therefore, your biggest mistake is to think you persuaded or earned it. No, you demonstrated the qualities of a king, and she responded with the only ritual embedded in her collective unconscious for such an occasion. This is not your victory. It is her choice. The choice of her soul to recognize you as her king. Part 2. The play of shadow and libido. When her yes isn't what it seems, we've established that in an ideal scenario, her yes is a signal of trust and status recognition. But the human psyche, as both Freud and Jung taught us, is far more complex than just noble impulses. Sometimes the very same actions can be driven by entirely different, hidden motives. And our task is to learn to distinguish them. Let's start again with Freud and his concept of the libido, the energy of desire, which is not always pure passion. Sometimes this energy works strategically. This brings us to understanding the yes as an investment. What is this? It's a situation where a woman makes this gesture not so much from a peak moment of desire, but from an unconscious drive to strengthen the bond, increase her value in your eyes, and in a sense, make you feel indebted. Imagine a situation. The relationship has cooled down a bit. You've started paying less attention to her. Maybe she feels you're pulling away. At this moment, her psyche might launch a defense mechanism. She decides to do something special for you, something she doesn't do for everyone or every day. She makes a powerful deposit into your relationship. It's her way of saying without words, look what I'm willing to do for you. Look how much I believe in you. You won't find another woman like me. Her libido, in this case, is not directed at immediate pleasure, but at a long-term goal preserving and strengthening the union. She is investing her vulnerability, her trust, her time in you. And any investment, as we know, expects a return. She unconsciously expects that after such a gesture, you will become more attentive, more generous, more attached. She raises the stakes to get you to refocus on her. This isn't always a conscious manipulation. More often, it's an instinctive female survival strategy within a relationship. But sometimes, something much darker lies behind this gesture. And here, Jung comes to our aid with his concept of the shadow. The shadow is the part of our personality that we don't acknowledge and suppress. Our hidden desires, selfishness, lust for power, resentments. And sometimes, her yes comes directly from there. This is the yes, as manipulation. In this case, the act of trust turns into a tool for achieving a specific, selfish goal. She isn't gifting you her vulnerability. She's using it as bait. How can you tell the difference between a sincere impulse and such a cunning game? There are 3 subtle signs that always betray her true intentions. The first sign is her behavior immediately after. If it was a sincere gesture, she will be relaxed, tender, perhaps a little shy afterward. She will seek your warmth and protection. If it was manipulation, her behavior will change to one of two things. Either she will become demonstratively cold, as if to say, "I've done my part of the deal. Now it's your turn." Or conversely, overly affectionate and fawning, preparing the ground for the next step. The second sign is her requests in the following days. If, within a day or two after this act, she makes an unusual, major request to buy an expensive item, borrow money, solve a serious problem for her, there's a 90% chance this was a setup. She created a sense of debt and gratitude in you to make it harder for you to refuse. She's essentially saying, "I did that for you, and you can't do this little thing for me?" And the third, most subtle sign is the testing of your boundaries. After such a manipulation, she might start acting more boldly, testing what she can get away with now. She might be late for a date without apologizing, or flirt with another man in front of you. She's seeing how firmly you're hooked and how much you fear losing access to this gift. If you swallow it, she knows the manipulation was a success, and the lever of control is now in her hands. This is the level of depth you will find in every one of my videos. If this is the approach you've been looking for, now is the perfect time to subscribe. Finally, there is a third, most common hidden reason for her yes, the yes, as a test. Here, the motives of Jung and Freud intertwine. She may genuinely desire intimacy, but her unconscious still uses this moment to conduct a final check. Are you really who you pretend to be? She projected the King Archetype onto you. She saw a high rank in you. Now she needs definitive proof. Her test lies in observing your reaction. Your reaction to her gift is the litmus test of your true essence, your self-esteem. She watches how you will behave, like a grateful boy who can't believe his luck, or like a confident man who accepts her devotion as his due, yet still values it. Fail this test, and her attraction, built on the image of a king, will begin to crumble like a house of cards. She doesn't just want to see a man. She wants to see confirmation of her choice. She chose you because she deemed you strong. And if your reaction shows weakness or neediness, she will experience profound disappointment, not so much in you, but in herself and her intuition. And that is a direct path to losing her respect and attraction. Part 3. Men's fatal mistakes. How not to devalue her greatest gift. So, we've arrived at the most critical part. You can be as smart, strong, and successful as you want, but if you make one of two fatal mistakes in the moment after this act, everything you've built up to that point can be undone. It is here, in this brief window of time, that your status is calibrated in her eyes. The first and most common mistake is error number 1. Over-the-top joy, or the boy's reaction. What happens? She gives you her vulnerability, and in return, she sees a man who acts like he just won the lottery. Excessive delight, phrases like, "Oh my God, that was incredible. Thank you, thank you. I've waited so long for this." He starts fussing, showering her with thanks, acting like a fan who just got an autograph from a star. Why is this a mistake? Because such a reaction instantly communicates one simple thing to her. For me, this is a huge rarity and of supreme value. And what is rare and supremely valuable? Something you can't get regularly. Something that, by your own internal assessment, you don't quite deserve. Your ecstatic joy is a signal of your low self-esteem and low position in the relationship. Hierarchy. Let's recall the King Archetype. Does a king act surprised and overjoyed when his subjects bring him gifts and swear allegiance? No, he accepts it with dignity. He values it, but for him, it is the natural order of things. He knows he deserves it by right of his status. The boy's reaction completely shatters this archetype. In her eyes, you instantly transform from a king into a page who has been shown great mercy. And if she showed you mercy today, she might not show it tomorrow. The power shifts to her. The second mistake is the opposite extreme. Error number 2, silence and indifference, or the tyrant's reaction. The man, having listened to advice about being an alpha, decides to show his imperturbability. After the act, he silently turns to the wall, or gets up and goes to the shower, or simply picks up his phone. He says nothing. He demonstrates complete indifference, thinking it will show his strength and independence. This is an even bigger mistake than the first. Why? Because she didn't just give you a physical act. She gave you her vulnerability, that very state of infantile trust Freud spoke of. She opened herself up to you completely. And in return, she received ... emptiness, neglect. Her gesture was devalued. She perceives this not as your strength, but as your disdain, as you having used her. A storm of thoughts rushes through her mind. I open my soul to him, and he doesn't care. I was just an object to him. I made a mistake. This hurts her far more than any harsh word. Such behavior doesn't just make her regret what she did. It causes her shadow, her dark side, to harbor resentment. And that resentment will inevitably find an outlet later, in passive aggression, arguments over nothing, or coldness. The tyrant's reaction is the fastest way to kill her trust and make her shut you out forever. Both of these mistakes are two sides of the same coin. They show that the man doesn't understand what just happened. One devalues himself, the other devalues her gift. The correct path lies exactly in the middle. And that is the path of the king. Part 4. The king's correct reaction. What to do after so. We've covered what not to do. Now for the most important part. A specific step-by-step algorithm for the correct reaction. A reaction that will not only solidify your status as a king, but will multiply her attraction and devotion. The ideal reaction consists of 2 parts, the right words and the right actions. Let's start with the words. The ideal words to say to her afterward. Forget praising her technique or how good it was for you. Those are all low-status, physiological compliments. The king talks about something else. He talks about the essence. Your task is to say 1 or 2 short but powerful phrases that show you appreciated not the act, but its meaning. That you saw not her lips, but her soul. Here are a few options. Choose the one that best fits your style. Immediately after, holding a short pause, you say calmly and in a deep voice, I value your trust. Or, that was very ... intimate. Or even more powerfully, thank you for your devotion. What do these phrases do? They hit the bullseye. You're not thanking her for a service, like a boy. You are acknowledging the value of her gift, her trust, her openness, her devotion. You are showing that you understood the deeper meaning of her act. For a woman to hear, this is like balm for her soul. It means her most intimate gesture was understood and accepted correctly. These words instantly place you in the position of a strong, conscious man who sees the essence of things. You are not just a consumer of pleasure. You are a connoisseur of her feminine nature. This is incredibly bonding. She understands that she is with a man who can understand her without words, not a primitive male. And for such a man, she will be willing to do anything. But words are only half the battle. The second, equally important part is the ideal actions. Non-verbal gestures that will cement the effect of your words and silently demonstrate your strength and gratitude. Immediately after you've spoken one of the key phrases, your sequence of actions should be as follows. First, don't fuss. Remain calm and relaxed. Take a slow, deep breath. Your calmness conveys to her that what happened was not a miracle, but a pleasant and natural part of your relationship. This is the behavior of a confident man. Second, Reach out your hand and slowly but firmly pull her towards you. No sudden movements. It should be the gesture of a master calling his woman. You are not asking her to come closer. You are gently demanding her presence. This gesture reestablishes physical contact, but on your terms, in your dominant frame. Third, when she is close, embrace her. And here is the key detail. Kiss her not on the lips, but on the crown of her head, her forehead, or her temple. Why is this so important? A kiss on the lips is a kiss of an equal, a lover's kiss. A kiss on the forehead or crown is a gesture of protection, patronage, the tenderness of the strong towards the more vulnerable. It is the gesture of a father, a king, a god. With this gesture, you are saying without words, you were vulnerable, you trusted me, and now you are under my protection again. Everything is all right. You close this vulnerability cycle, restoring her sense of security. This is an incredibly powerful psychological anchor. This exact combination, the right words about trust, plus the right gestures of protection, is the king's reaction. You simultaneously show that you value her gift, but are not needy for it. You demonstrate the gratitude of the strong, not the joy of the weak. You solidify your high status while giving her what she craves, most a sense of security with a strong man. After such a reaction, her doubts will vanish. She will know for sure she made the right choice. This is how you pass her ultimate test. And from this moment on, she will be ready to give you her devotion again and again, because she will be certain that her gift is in the right hands. Conclusion. From lover to heir C cheat YP at the very beginning, I said that this gesture is her main exam for you. Now you know how to pass it. Now you understand that it was never about technique, physiology, or frequency. It was always about psychology, about status, trust, and power. When a woman agrees to this act, she is handing you a key. A key not just to her body, but to her unconscious. She is giving you a chance to stop being just a nice guy, a lover, or even a husband to her. She is giving you a chance to become an archetype for her, the embodiment of that masculine force to which she instinctively wants to submit. Most men don't see this key. They take it, fumble clumsily with the lock, and end up either breaking the key or the door itself. They react like boys or tyrants, and each time they drop their status, making her regret her choice. But you know better now. You know that the correct reaction, the king's reaction, is not just a tactic. It's a mindset. It's a demonstration of your inner rank. Every time you react correctly to this gift of hers, you will strengthen your image as a king in her soul. You will become not just a man of flesh and blood to her, but something more. The one who gives her a sense of absolute security. The one whose power she gladly acknowledges. The one whom she wants to serve. And this is the highest level of a relationship, accessible only to those who understand the hidden languages of the female soul. Today, we figured out how to correctly understand and react to her yes. But what does her nitrogen monoxide to this proposal really mean? What hidden reasons are behind her refusal? And how should you react to not lose status, but actually strengthen it? The psychology of female refusal is even more important, and that's exactly what we'll be dissecting in the next video. To make sure you don't miss it, ensure you're subscribed, and be sure to hit the notification bell dot. And now, the main question for you. Think back and write in the comments how your own attitude towards this gesture has changed as you've become more experienced and started to understand women more deeply. Let's gather all our collective wisdom in the comments below. I'll pin the best stories,